Welcome to the Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom podcast. My name is Jacob Kuker, but my friends call me Cub, and you should too. Every day on Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom, we explore faith, spirituality, and the realms of paranormal, specifically through the lens of esotericism. So I'm very excited to be here with you today. I've got an incredible episode planned. Obviously, I haven't been on the live for a minute here, but I am back, back in action, back to my regular schedule. Those of you that don't know, I'll share a little more about this later, but I have been writing a book. The book is done. We are in the shipping process now. Very, very excited to have that going. That has been a huge chunk of my life. To write the book, to produce it, to print it, all of that stuff. So lots of new and exciting things. So thank you guys for being here today. But I'm actually going to be reading from it today. And we're going to talk about how the Bible is a zodiac calendar. The book is called Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom. It is available on my website at mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom explores an entire plethora of different belief systems, unifying them all into one, really hinging around the Bible. It is not inherently a Christian book or a religious book. It is a universalism book, and it really looks at the Bible as the occult book that it is. It looks at the teachings of Jesus through the universal lens rather than the religious lens that we're all used to. So if you dig that kind of thing, you definitely go check that out. I'll share a little bit more about that later on the broadcast today. But I want to go ahead and get into this. Crystals, welcome. How are you? Patty, how are you, my friend? Boro, welcome. Michael, welcome. Theatus, welcome. Jesus is in the house. Joshua Zane, what's going on, my friend? Barbara, how is it going? Hubolto, how are you? I hope you're having a beautiful day. David, Aaron, who we got? Sanjay, how are you, my friend? Petey Pete, what is going on? Thank you guys for joining. Strildis, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here over on, where are you at? God, we're on a lot of platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. We're on, what is that one? The purple one. I don't even remember what that one is. We're on a lot of different platforms, guys. It's so cool with technology. We can blast this out to all corners of the world. So I love that. Brittany, how are you, my friend? Thank you for joining. Yes, I'm back. Again, I've been gone not by choice, but by necessity. Writing this book and getting it all right has been a huge chunk of my time. So I haven't been able to produce a lot of content or podcasts through writing this book. But as promised, we hit the release date. We've just been waiting on printing. The printing has started. We are just waiting on the books now, and then they'll be shipping out. So very excited about that. What I'm going to get into today is from the book. Pretty much going forward, everything I'm talking about on this podcast is going to be from the book. Why, you might ask? Because I've spent the last 5-6 years combining all of this information that we've been talking about, all the blog posts that I've done, all of the ideas and theories that we've talked about here on the podcast, and I combine them into a 300-page book, crammed with information, crammed with esoteric data, crammed with wisdom, mysteries of ancient wisdom, if you will. So today I'm going to jump into the planetary lexicon, and then I'm going to get into the zodiacal lexicon. And you can see behind me is one of the graphics in the book. And this is your kind of traditional zodiac wheel. So anyone that's not familiar with it, I wanted to put that in the background today so you guys can check that out. And the verse for today is Psalms 19:1-2 in the King James Version. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. Now, the reason I put this is I want to remind everyone the zodiac is not evil. Astrology is not evil. It's not even bogus. It is literally a clock. It is a clock that, if you believe in God, God laid out. If you believe in the universe, then the universe has perfectly laid it out. That is what is amazing about it. What I'm not going to do today is astrological readings. I don't do that. It's not my gift. It's not my forte. I don't even spend a lot of time getting my own readings done, if you will. I use it more as a barometer, as a clock. I don't study the second hands on it so much as look at what time it is. And that's really what I want to teach you guys today. So, especially if you like the Bible, but also you're going, okay, there's a lot more out there. Like, I want to figure some more things out. This is definitely your episode. And so we're going to talk about today Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. I am a Pisces in tropical and sidereal zodiac. So if you don't know the difference, tropical is essentially the popular one, but it's gotten skewed off because of the precession of equinoxes. So there's a big movement now to bring back like sidereal, which is like Vedic zodiac, ancient. It really just focuses on what you can see in the sky. So that's pretty cool. Again, I don't use it for like a divination system necessarily. I don't have an issue with that at all. I just don't really, my mind doesn't work that way to like get that detailed into like trying to figure my life out. I'd rather just go live my life and, see what happens. It's more of a fun game that way. So, but what I'm going to get into today is I'm going to show you the planets and the zodiac and what they are in the Bible, because in the Bible, when you start reading the Bible with this very mystical lens, it literally comes alive in a way that you're never going to have it come alive in church this way. You're never going to have it come alive if you try to keep it religious. Never going to have it come alive if you try to keep it literal. But when you unleash it and allow yourself to interpret it completely allegorical, even if you've never read the Bible before, if you're like, I don't even believe that stuff, I'm telling you guys, definitely read the Bible through this lens. Whether you're agnostic, atheist, whatever, this will literally change your life. If you can pick up a Bible and start reading it in this way, there's no dogma, there's no religion in it. All it becomes is an occult book and a compendium to understand the patterns of your life and the allegory of all the different ages that we have lived through as the human race and the ages you're going to go through in your life. The patterns you'll go through in your life, from Adam and Eve to Moses to John the Baptist to Jesus to Judas and beyond. All of them are archetypes, and we can sit here and all argue all day long. It was literal, it was real, this happened, this is the time. I don't care. I don't care if any of these characters walked the earth. What I care is what it means. Okay. If they did, great. I'm not here to prove that. I'm not a historian. I'm not an archaeologist or an anthropologist. So I'm not here to prove that. What I'm here to prove is hopefully give you the spark to open the Bible and go, okay, there's something hidden here. And it's not what they're saying. So this is very, very interesting today. I hope you guys enjoy this. Merle, how are you? I hope you're doing well, brother. Merle says, well, you messaged me 30 minutes before the live call. Brother, please set an alarm. I would love to message you, but I've got a lot to get ready for the call. And I almost forgot last time, so I don't want to be the reason you don't show up for the call. Please set an alarm, put my face on it so you see my face reminding you. Those alarms on your iPhone, super awesome, and they'll annoy you until you jump on. So go do that, Merle. Appreciate you, brother. Brooke, how are you? Brooke says, recently found your content. Excited to watch all your stuff moving forward. Straight truth. Brooke, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Monsieur TikTok Shop says, Earth is flat. The North Star is fixed. Here's the deal, guys. I'm not here for flat Earth either. I'm not here for round Earth. The Earth you live on, I literally believe, is a reflection of your consciousness. I literally believe, this is what Cub Kuker actually believes. I actually believe there are people that live on a flat Earth. I actually believe there's people that live on a ball. I actually believe there's people that live in a video game. And I'm one of those people, because based on how I think and my consciousness day to day, I experience a completely different Earth. Okay. I experience crazy stuff in the news, or I experience, just a mundane Tuesday, right? Depends on where my consciousness is focused at that time. So that's really how I go about it, my friends. All right, we're going to jump in. We're going to look at the planets here, and I want to set this up for you. If you've never done the Zodiac, if you've never heard any of this astrology stuff, This is kind of 101 today. If you are an astrological expert, good for you. There are purists that disagree with me on just about everything that I talk about because I'm not a purist. I am a generalist. I know a lot of different things and I am able to connect a lot of those different things loosely with the allegory. Okay. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. That doesn't mean that it's right. That's just my gift. It's like I can take a puzzle piece from any puzzle you give me and make a new, beautiful picture out of it. Because they're all using color, they're all using color theory, they're all using different pieces, and you can put them together. It doesn't mean that they don't go together. It just means that you rearrange them and you find the ones that actually do fit together. You don't force anything together, but when they fit together, they fit together. You might end up with a different abstract piece, aka not just Christianity, not just Judaism, not just Islam, not just New Age, but maybe something that is an amalgamation of everything. And that's how I put together these pieces because that's just how my mind works. So the planetary gods, we're going to go through those in the lexicon here. Then I'm going to go through all the zodiac signs. And I want you to think of the planetary gods as the players on the stage. They're the actors on the stage. Then we're going to talk about the zodiac signs. Those are like the scenes and the supporting characters that these great gods or these planets play against. Now, we know if you have a crystal that it has energy in it, right? Like it has subtle energy. You can put pressure on a quartz crystal. It'll give piezoelectric energy. We use them to power watches. We can crush up a bunch of those and smelt them down and create silicone to run the computers that I'm streaming on. It gets crazy cool when you really think about what crystals can do. So think about like another planet, and it's made up of like very specific stuff. If you look at the planets in our solar system, they all have like a very unique makeup. Some of them are really iron heavy. Some of them are gas giants. Some of them have a lot of mercury or a lot of different vapors on them. Like it depends on what planet it is. Some of them are ice. So this is where it gets really interesting. If you think about all of our planets are essentially these giant crystals floating around the solar system, and our little planet here is affected. And whether it doesn't matter what cosmological, whatever you believe, I think it becomes apparent whether you're a flat earther or a round earther or a simulation theorist like I am, it becomes apparent that they're clearly affecting our reality. And maybe we're affecting them too with our own consciousness. I've seen some weird things where there's some days where I shift my mindset and I swear the zodiac chart shifted. Like I swear it does. Like just weird. I've also noticed some days when I like get really hyper fixated on like what's the astrology doing right now, that it really affects me because then I'm like hyper aware of it. And so it becomes nearly impossible to tell who's affecting who. But just like a relationship, like if you get married, sometimes it's hard to tell like, well, who had the bad attitude first or who had the good attitude first or who was in the mood first or who, whatever. Right. So like it becomes a relationship. That's the relationship we have with these planets and with the zodiac signs that I'm going to share with you here in a little bit. So Brooks says the earth is a plane of consciousness. That's the best way to put it. I love that. Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Brooks says, but we're in a matrix, mater, matter. Exactly. Mother, matrix, matrice, mater, matter. Exactly. I talk a lot about that in the book. My theory is that it's a projection of your consciousness through the eye. It's both flat, the plane, and spherical. The sphere might not be the best shape, but it's the closest I can think of right now. What the plane is held within. Very good. Very good. Apple of the eye of the storm, all-seeing eye, microcosm to macrocosm. Exactly. See, same. You're picking up what I'm putting down here. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Very good. Everything is on a spectrum, right? Love astrological concepts. I like the jack of all trades thing, generalists. Everything is so much. Yeah, that's where I exist in that weird world of everything all at once, right? So Crystal Dawn says matrix. Exactly. There you go. But remember, they're the ones that trick in the matrix. Mother don't trick in the matrix. Mother is the matrix. Okay, so they're running a false program over the mother matrix. And that's what you have to be careful for. So Isaiah 40:22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are the grasshoppers that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain. Very good, very good. Absolutely, my friend. So the sun, when you get into the biblical astrology, the sun is the son of God. It is also in the Germanic, Solaris, Sol in the Greek, Helios in the Egyptian, and Utu in the Sumerian. Now, I'm laying all of this out because in the book, you're going to get all the different little root words and where it's connected to. And even with that, I jump around. Some things I'll give you the Latin only. Some things I give you a big spectrum of things. I really give you what is needed to understand the concept of the book, hoping you will go and research even more, take a lot of notes in the book, and then continue to study on your own and decide what you believe. Because that's the whole point of what I do. Not to prove to you that, I'm right about everything and that what I believe is the right way, but to spark something in you that will become a revolution within you, to start your own movement within you, your own movement for truth, your own movement for life, your own movement for light, to understand who you really are. And that's really what I try to do here. So the sun is our local star, a quantum fire at the center of our heavens. It archetypes the Son of God, the Father principle made manifest, governing light, life, and order. It echoes illumination, radiating life force into creation. The sun is constantly blasting the earth with invisible energy that affects our planet as well as our bodies, mind, and spirit. Now, I actually had a long conversation with my dad last night about this. John, what's up, brother? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, my friend. And my dad is raised Catholic, and he has really started to, come online with a lot of this awakening movement as well. Because we were talking and he brought up that the earth is constantly getting blasted with solar flares, with radiation, with this, with dense enough light codes that they almost are matter. If you you can watch these things leave the sun, and I mean, it looks like there's matter with it, but it's light, basically. It's light and radiation and heat, and then it blasts right through our planet. And it literally goes through it. A lot of it does, right? And that's what's wild to me is if you think that quantum fire out there, whether you live on a flat earth or a round earth or wherever you think you live, if you think that quantum fire doesn't affect you every single day, then I can't help you. Because if you haven't noticed, that sun has everything that you need. Okay. That sun has the vitamins. That sun activates the minerals in your body. That sun activates your consciousness. That sun grows you up in awareness, in wisdom. And that to me is the Son of God. Okay. I wasn't there 2,000 years ago when Jesus purportedly walked the earth. I'm not arguing that he didn't. I'm just saying what I have today to experience is that sun. That's the love. That's the radiation. That's the heat. That's the warmth. That's the unconditional forgiveness, acceptance, unity that I have today, because that's what's outside my door right now. Now, within me, the sun also shines too, and we'll talk about that later. John Sherry says, my first introduction to this topic was Bill Donahue. Yeah, absolutely. I've been listening to Bill Donahue forever now. Love him. I think he's got some great points on a lot of things. Some things I think were a little vague in his teaching, a little bit reachy, but also, is it reachy? Because the more I understand this stuff and the higher vibration I become, the more my ideas often tend to sound weird or just reaching for people that aren't on the same frequency. And it doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone. And it doesn't mean that, if you're not on the same frequency, you're a lower being than me. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean it starts to, people that are vibrating at that frequency go, oh yeah, I see that. People that aren't go, well, no, that doesn't make sense. Well, where's your data on that? What, so that becomes like kind of a litmus test for me to see where people are at. The more I speak my truth, the more it reveals if other people are living in their truth, if that makes sense. So Ghost Samurai says sun, father, sun, moon, yin yang. Exactly. John, much love, brother. Thank you, my friend. Sun equals sun. Exactly. Mars fee. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about today. So then we get to Mercury. You guys that like the Anunnaki, Mercury is Enki. Okay. Every single one of these ancient stories, archetype, the sun, the moon, the wandering lights, the stars, the heavens, the zodiac. They're all archetypes of that. That's literally what they're talking about. The great dragon in the book of Revelation, Tiamat in the Sumerian, Babylonian, Akkadian. We get over here to Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. Think it receives solar flares first, receives solar information first. It's the closest to the Son of God. So therefore, it receives that light language or that gnosis first. So it is Enki, Thoth, Hermes, Mimir, Scientia in Latin. Yes, there's an actual god named Scientia. And Enoch. So Enoch, if you've ever wondered, I don't know, I have Book of Enoch somewhere here. One of my friends is reading it now. He's like, well, who do you think Enoch was? I'm like, it's Mercury. No, but like, who do you really think it was? No, like it's the planet Mercury. Like the stories are about that. If there was an actual person, that's great. Again, that would have been a shadow of that consciousness. If Enoch was a real person walking the earth and Thoth was, and Hermes and Enki, then they are that consciousness of the direct messenger from the Son of God, from the light. Okay. Esoteric Eric says, wow, I finally caught alive. It's been a while. Yes, it has. Yes, it has, brother. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Enki versus Enlil, Shiva versus Vishnu, Samael, versus Lucifer. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same archetypes. Brooke says, where did you get your book of Enoch? I need to order a copy, but I want to get an accurate version. I don't have those on my website anymore because the website is now dedicated to my book only for obvious reasons. But the one that I have is, I'm trying to see, I don't have it in front of me, but if you can message me, I will message you a picture of it, Brooke. You're on Facebook, shoot me a message and I will message you an image of that to make sure you get the right one. Because there is a very specific one. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've read just about every version of it. And this one by far, I think is one of the best. So like by far. So, okay. Venus is Inanna, Phosphorus, Arvandil, Lucifer, and Hillel ben Seshar. Okay. This is where it gets interesting because this is where a lot of people argue with me. Oh, Lucifer this, Lucifer that. Lucifer ain't even a thing, guys. Lucifer is just an archetype of the bright and morning star. Thank you, John. John says, I love your energy. Thank you, brother. It's been a while since I've been on the live stream, so I feel like my energy is off today. But, the more I get back into it, the better the energy gets. So it's taken a while to get the book written. So I feel like I haven't streamed for months, which I know I have, but it's just been off and on because I've been pulling 18, 20-hour days for a while, writing this thing, editing it, getting it to print. Guys, it is so much work, but I am so grateful to have it. Thank you for your patience. So where we really get with this stuff is, again, Venus being an archetype. Lucifer being an archetype. Do I think there's an objective being of Lucifer that is some, Satan's right-hand man or whatever? No, I don't. Because again, Satan, as you're going to see here in a minute, is a planet. Are there spiritual energies behind that with consciousness? Yeah, sure. I believe that. Absolutely. I believe, by the way, every single one of them is connected to your chakras. This is literally the universe or your soul Earth system, And I put all that in the book too, just to remind everyone that you can look with a telescope, but it's also in here. You're a shadow of the universe. So your little microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. So that is Venus morning star. And if anybody ever wanted to know, that, oh, how far you've fallen, Lucifer, son of the morning, that's a slur against the king of Babylon back in the day. Okay. The writer of that Old Testament book was trying to give a slur to that Babylonian king, kind of like dissing somebody on the playground. Like, you think you're the king, but you're just a mockery, because as soon as the real king comes up, ain't even going to be able to see you. You think you're the brightest thing in the sky. Wait till the sun comes up. That's literally what they were talking about. This was their stage. That was their allegory. You got to understand, they didn't have TV like we do. They didn't have Netflix or TikTok or any of that stuff. So they're looking at the sky and they're building myths around that, right? And to try and understand these allegory. Well, then they get turned into religions. Then they get turned into effigies. Then they get worshipped. And then, 102, 300 years later, they don't even remember where it came from. And then they start worshiping it. And that's really what the Bible is showing us, is that even Paul, and I'll show you here in a little bit, even Paul enters with a zodiac sign. Okay. There's no major character in the Bible that doesn't enter with a zodiac sign or leave with a zodiac sign, often both. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you see it, it changes your life. Once it changes your life, you cannot go back to a literal reading, and you can't even hear that literal reading without like getting a little squeamish, because it's like, oh, you don't even know, like, oh, come on, like it's painful. It's painful, especially listening to some of those sermons. So the moon is sin, sin. Yes, that's where the idea of sin came from, because the moon would throw you out of frequency or out of vibration with the sun. That's why you have a rising sign or a sun sign. Okay. You have your sun sign, but then you have this moon. Well, the moon is that thing that balances you out and challenges your normal traits. You may be a happy-go-lucky, fun, playful, but boy, you hit that moon time, and I'm going to tell you right now, it'll flip your switch. That's why people during a full moon see the worst come out of people. You see the best come out of some people because they're doing the inner work, but people that are just in base reality, that's it. They just exist in that frequency, and they're like, okay, I don't know why I feel this way, but I just feel like honking and flipping everybody off today. And then it causes a chain reaction, right? Because the moon is sin. The moon is testing us with that dichotomy of like, hey, you think you're this, but I'm going to show you that you're actually this, and you got work to do. Is that why there's so many nighttime transformations? Yes, exactly. So it's also Isis, Selene, Mani, Luna, and Sophia. Okay. Sophia is the biblical word for wisdom. And oftentimes the moon is tied to that wisdom, feminine wisdom. If you love wisdom, the moon will love you. If you don't love wisdom, the moon ain't going to love you. Meaning, you love wisdom, you're going to ingest everything you can, content, books, music, TV, everything that you can that is filled with wisdom, filled with symbolism, filled with deeper understandings. You are going to do the inner work because you love wisdom and you want to follow wisdom because you care about who you become. Okay. That is where then all of a sudden those big full moons, you just go out and you're like, wow. And it's like amazing. It's like a magnet and you're drawn to it. And you have a really, good relationship with it. Okay. I'm not telling you to go moon worship here. I'm just saying you get caught up in the glow of it. And it reminds you of the sun. It reminds you of the deeper part of you that begins to be illuminated. By the way, if you have darkness in you, that's going to be illuminated. So that's where you have to really play your cards with inner work, especially when it comes to the moon. because sin is not a bad thing. Sin shows us where we need to do better, guys. Yes, wisdom through experience, Brooke says. Exactly. Moon is also an emotion which he said can take us out of our normal behavior. Absolutely. You can't teach wisdom, John says. Absolutely, brother. That's why I named the book Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom. Okay. Like, I was like, what's the hardest thing I can teach? Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom. And that's where the title came from. That's where the whole ecosystem came from, is like, that is the most important thing in my life to me. I mean, I remember years ago having a conversation with a friend, and he's like, why are you always stuck on all this ancient stuff, like this ancient knowledge and wisdom stuff? Like, he's like, why can't we look to the future? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's great. Maybe that's his thing. Maybe he could do mysteries of future wisdom or something, right? But for me, it's like ancient wisdom. It's like everything is telling of like these ancient things, like this sun, moon, and stars. They were here before you were even turned on in the simulation here, right? So I think we can look back and see some wisdom. If you can learn from your past, you can design your future, my friends. So this is so cool. Strawberry Nest says, thank you, my friend. Your name reminds me of Strawberry Quick, by the way. I used to love that as a kid. You know, that little powder in there with the milk, and then it explode in your eye. Yeah, so Strawberry Nest just reminds me of Strawberry Quick. That's the way my brain works. So but thanks for being here, my friend. Strawberry Nest says, yes, awesome. I love it. So, all right, let's get to Satan here. First off, we got Mars, which is Nergal, Set, Aries. Okay, we're about to have a full moon in Aries. So pay attention right now. Okay, it doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen to you, but it means you need to be aware, because what is Aries? What is Tyr? What is Maritas? And what is Apollyon? Okay, biblically, Apollyon is the destroyer, the angel in the book of Revelation. Okay, the book of Revelation is literally telling you about your chakras, and it's telling you about astrology, the zodiac, and the planetary placements. It is literally telling you what happens when you awaken and all of the things that are going to start going off. Okay, when I started waking up, I started watching these exact planetary processions that the book of Revelation talks about. They name them things like Apollyon. Okay, Apollyon not necessarily being, you know, a anthropomorphic angel with a sword that comes down to earth, but it has to do with an energy. There's a spiritual archetype behind it, and we, in our mind, in our mind's eye, create that archetype into a character or an avatar that can carry that character, just like we would put them in a screen on a movie. We have to have something to project that idea on, because ideas to human beings are just abstract until we create it into a character, or a pattern or an artwork or whatever it is. So this is Mars, guys. So we just saw that 3-1 or 3A Atlas, whatever planetary body it is coming by Mars right now. Okay, so whatever energy that's carrying, if it's a natural body, maybe it's a mothership, I don't know. But whatever energy that's carrying just got magnified by the god of war, which is Mars, which is Aries. Okay. And I really want you to think about that, because now we're entering into a full moon on, I believe it's October 6th here. I think it's Monday. That's going to be in Aries. Okay. So now we got this Atlas 31A or whatever it's called, planetary body, and it's moving by the god of war. And then now we got a full moon in the god of war. Okay. Like, what is going on here? Because remember, we got Mars, which is the planet, and all our planets are named after Roman gods. Then we have our zodiac, which are named after a different pantheon, oddly enough. So it gets to be a little confusing, but you get some of the same crossovers. You've got a little bit of influence from a bunch of different pantheons in each of them, technically, but your names are basically all Roman here in the planets. So that's where, you know, it gets confusing. But what I'm trying to say is, now we have it passing by Mars, which is Aries, god of war, but also the full moon is in the zodiac of Aries, god of war. So very interesting time to be alive here. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm saying that's the energy. Okay. Could be civil unrest, could be just upheaval with your own emotions to like, who am I? Like, I'm tired of this person I've been. I want to be this person, and I decide this, you know, and that's great. Like that, For me, a lot of times that's what it is. The biggest battles I have are within me. So, which is, that may sound easy, but I promise you it's not. So that is really what you have to think about, like when you see these things. And that's why I laid the book out like this. And I can't even show this page here, but I have all the planets. This book has like 300 plus color photos in it, all artwork that I created. It's absolutely beautiful. I even show all the planets, and kind of essentially what they look like. None of it's scientific, guys, but it'll give you a really good idea of like, oh, that's basically what that looks like. Um, and so, you can just look at this, and next time you hear Jupiter, which we're about to talk about, you can go, oh, this is what Jupiter is. This one gets weird here because I actually uncovered a small conspiracy with Jupiter. Beast 22, what's up, my friend? Beast 22 says, just found your content on my spiritual journey about 2 weeks ago. Your perspective really resonates with me. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Really appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. So, Jupiter is Enlil. Okay. If you remember Enki, Enlil, we've talked about Enki. Jupiter is Enlil. Set in the Egyptian, chaos in the Greek. Okay. Chaos in the Greek, Thor in the Germanic, Jove in Latin. Okay. This gets crazy. Then Yahweh in the Bible, or Jehovah. Okay. Jehovah. See, I'm telling you guys, you cannot make this stuff up, guys. I mean, you can go down these rabbit holes. When you get the book, open it up, start highlighting stuff, go look up these words, you're going to find way more connections than I was able to find even in the book. Like you're going to uncover some stuff in your own life, in your own mind, in your own understanding, because you're a different archetype than I am. You're going to focus on different things in this book that are going to lead you down rabbit holes that I can't lead you down, but you certainly are going to get that spark from the information in this book. There's not another book on the planet like this. Okay. I can honestly tell you that this is there's no other book like this. There's a lot of different books with like compendiums and spirituality and stuff, but the way this is written, not only is it like a compendium of knowledge and wisdom, but it also tells a full narrative from the beginning to the end. And it will help you think differently. That is the whole point of this. Think of it as like a textbook for your soul. That's what this book is all about. So Jupiter, this is where it gets really weird here. So Jupiter is the 5th planet from the sun, the largest in our solar system. It archetypes the king of gods, the sovereign ruler, embodying law, judgment, and divine authority. Sound familiar from like the Old Testament? It storms, storm god. Hello. Storm god, Yahweh, Jehovah, Thor, chaos, Enlil. Those are literally all storm gods, like actually all storm gods. So it embodies its judgment, divine authority. Its storms signify ruling through chaos itself, blessing and judging those who stand beneath it. The eye of Jupiter's eternal storm signifies the all-seeing eye of occultism. Okay. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Go look at your dollar bill. Look at that eye, that all-seeing eye that's there. Okay, the eye of Jupiter is always watching. We are always watching, Wazowski. Right? Remember that from Monsters Inc. Okay, the eye of Jupiter. Why do you think that Mike Wazowski is like? Think about this, guys. Why is he round? Why does he have a single eye? And why does he have a very unique name for his last name? That's all I will leave you with there. There's another little conspiracy under this that I can't talk a whole lot about online, and I certainly didn't mean anything anti anything by this allegory in the book. So, but it is there for your understanding. There's a very interesting thing where Jesus says, "My Father who is in heaven." Well, if you look at the Greek for that, it says, "My pater uranios." Okay, if you look up pater uranios in the Greek, you're literally going to get the god Jupiter. Literally. Like, and so it's really weird. Like, is that what he's talking about? Like, was he actually showing that? Was that added after the fact? Like, what in the world is going on? And then I love my creative etymology. So you also have Jupiter, pater being father of Jewish people, right? So that would be that God, that archetype, Old Testament God. I'm not here to tell you the Old Testament God is bad at all, just telling you it is a different archetype than the Son, which is brought to you in the New Testament. Joshua says, love how you explain that. Thank you, brother. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see you. So again, we love all of our Hebrew, Jewish, Islam, Christian, everybody, brothers and sisters. Okay, this is a mixed, multi-faith, multi-tradition community. We're rainbow. We're open. Everybody's welcome here. Genuinely, everybody's welcome. I have strong opinions, but I promise I respect you. I promise I respect your tradition. Okay. I have always stood behind that. I always will. That's what this channel is about. And just because I have an opinion on something does not mean that I'm persecuting you or trying to step on your toes. So, but you got to be able to talk freely, but you also have to be respectful. And that's what I've learned on this channel. So, with that, do that research at your own risk, understand what that means, understand the cosmic drama that the Bible and other spiritual texts are talking about. So, I got to wet the whistle there. So, okay, now let's get to Satan, because there's a huge conspiracy theory going around saying, oh, this religion or that religion worships Satan. Okay. No. Ain't nobody worshiping Satan unless they're worshiping Satan. Okay. And I'll tell you how they worship Satan. It has to do with three-dimensional principles. Okay. Saturn is the Lord of the Rings. Okay. Like literally, like I just watched the Lord of the Rings. That's actually what that is. Okay. You get married, you put a ring on your finger. If you like it, you should have put a ring on it. You guys really think that song has anything to do with marriage? No. That song, just like all of occult Hollywood and music industry, is about the Lord of the Rings. If you like it, put a ring on it. Okay, yoke to it. It is the god of this world, Saturn. It is Erim in Sumerian, Aphosis in Egyptian. Those Egyptian ones are hard to say, guys. My apologies. Chronos in the Greek. Okay, this is why I say this is Father Time. Okay, people get mad at me. No, it's not Father. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's the archetype of Father Time. That would be Chronos. That would be the god of time. Okay, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa gets it. So Chronos, Father Time. The Norns in Germanic is super interesting because Germanic doesn't like have a one-to-one pantheon, kind of like some of these others seemingly do. The Nordic pantheon they like split these Norns. You got like these three fates that have the little the needle and thread. You remember seeing those like on Hercules or whatever. That's like the Greek fates are kind of like the Nordic Norns. So, they kind of weave the fabric of fate. Just like anything Nordic, it can get very weird very quickly. I am of that descent, so I can understand why it's easy to get weird with it. So, and then Latin is dies in Latin, dies, literally. Actually correctly pronounced dies, 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 and there's a line over the east. That's weird, okay? And then Satan in the Bible, Satan, Saturn, okay? Do you guys see? That's just the planets. I haven't even gotten into the astrology part of it yet. That's just the planet. Those are the major players in the Bible, okay? Now you will see Peter plays Saturn in the Bible, okay? Jupiter is played by Yahweh. Mars is played by Apollyon, the angel, the destroyer, also the angel of death in the Old Testament as that spirit passes over. Remember Passover. I didn't even get to Mother Earth, but that is Adama. Okay, literally the word Adam means earth. So Adam, there's a big belief that the original Adam was androgynous and not, an actual male. That the duality was when that the atom split, right? And became male and female. So I keep dropping every pin today, but I'm going to get another one because I like clicking my pins, Okay. So that gets very, very interesting there. So, but I hope you guys see, like, you could just go through the Bible and go, oh, there's the moon, there's wisdom. Oh, there's Venus, there's Lucifer. Oh, there's Mercury, there's Enoch. Also, who else heralds the Son of God? John the Baptist. So, anybody in the class know, just from what we talked about, which of these planets would John the Baptist be, because he's heralding the light, the sun? Who would he be? Anybody drop it if you know it. Drop it like it's hot if you know it. Anybody? Okay, so John the Baptist would be, somebody get it? Somebody get it? Maybe? Okay. John the Baptist would be Lucifer, because he's heralding the light. Okay. Again, doesn't mean Lucifer's a bad thing. It means, hey, I am going to bear witness to the light and shine as long as I can until I am executed, just like John the Baptist. And the sun rises in its full glory. And then now that Lucifer, Venus is gone. Okay. It's crazy, guys. Crazy how you can start connecting this stuff when you begin to understand it. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm a guru here. I'm just saying this book it really, really will set you on a new path of wisdom. I really, really believe that, guys. Okay. I don't believe anybody can read this book with an open heart and an open mind and not be positively changed by it. To a point where you begin to see movies, television, music, the church, religion, your own family, your own culture in a completely different way, in a way that is unifying, enlightening, and allows you to start being player one in your reality. That is truly what I believe. So, Shelly, how are you? Shelly says, I'm late, but at least I'm consistent. There you go, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Really glad you're here, Shelly. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Gematria is super interesting as well. Absolutely. I don't do gematria because I just don't do numbers. I am not a numbers guy. Never have been, probably never will be. It's just not my strong suit. I probably was in a different life. I was probably an accountant or something. But in this life, I am more about colors and words and story and emotion. That's me. So, all right, we are going to move on now, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into the actual astrology truth train for confirmation here. I got to scroll quite a bit because there's a whole chapter after that planetary lexicon diving deep into what we just talked about. Each one of these planets gets a full 2-page spread, packed with data, packed with beautiful graphics and artwork that will really, really like help unlock this book for you. That was the one thing when I started writing this book. I didn't just want a bunch of janky looking charts and stuff. I wanted beautiful original artwork that could be something that you can meditate on. Even like when you learn about Mars here, Apollyon, I put a beautiful, beautiful painting of Apollyon in there. All of the artwork is created by me in the book. I did use AI technology, but it was painstakingly created by me. This wasn't just, here AI make me an image of this. Like, this was symbolism is included, color theory is included. Every piece of artwork in here, like the artwork doesn't look AI at all. Like, it is really, really beautiful, really well done, really very specific elements, including the artwork descriptions, which tell another part of the esoteric story. So if you get the book, don't read don't skip the artwork and the artwork descriptions, because that's what's going to lock it in. You guys that are visual, you guys that are that need that type of learning where you can lock on the image and the story to it. That's what that's going to help you do. So John says, well done, congratulations. Thank you, my friend. So now that brings us to the actual zodiac wheel, which is behind me. That's what we're going to start talking about here. And I'm going to go through this lexicon. We'll go from Aries all the way to Pisces. Try to give you guys the best I can in the next 30 minutes here. Yoda says, I missed your lives. Hi. Thank you, Yoda. Been working on the book. The book is it is out now. We're waiting on the first wave of shipping right now. So it is actually released for order. I still have pre-order up on the website if you want to get the pre-order deal. But as soon as I get those books in hand and start shipping, I mean, I'm expecting that like any day, hopefully next week. It just depends on their print process and shipping and everything. Like hopefully very, very soon, those are going to be shipping out. So I still have that that pre-order bundle going on. So if you want you can get a free book if you get that digital bundle. That digital bundle will roll out between now and Christmas. All the digital content. You're going to get the audiobook, the ebook, you're going to get the courses, you're going to get the mentor program, all of the stuff that's in there. We do Saturday calls on a fairly regular basis. You have a community attached to it, everything. That digital bundle is a steal right now. You literally won't be able to get it cheap like this for very long. Okay. And I'll literally mail you a free book. So right now I'm out of hardcovers. Those are all spoken for already, but you will get a beautiful, high quality soft cover. The soft covers have a really nice matte finish. Beautiful, beautiful book. So you can't go wrong with either of those, but I'll ship you one of those free. You can scan that QR code or go to mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. And like I said, I will send that book to you. All the hardcovers I'm actually signing for you guys as well that already did the pre-orders. And then the soft covers, you guys will get those free going forward, or at least while I have that offer going on. So I'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but I want to dive in here and talk about the Zodiac in the Bible. What is it? Why is it? Why is your church going to tell you that this is heresy? Growing up, I was taught that the Zodiac is an evil system of occult symbolism meant to channel demons. And in a way, that's not really an incorrect statement other than the evil part. Is it channeling energy? Yeah, absolutely. By the way, every logo you see from every company is channeling energy. That is why it's very, very, very important to try and understand this on a deeper level. So Aries, the ram, this is the Lamb of God. Now, as I said, the Zodiac now, we talked about the planetary gods. Those are like the major players that are going to play on the screen of the Zodiac, the scene and the supporting characters of the Zodiac. So now we move to the scene and the supporting character of Aries, the ram. I'm running out of voice today. I haven't talked in a while. So the Lamb of God, red fire sign, masculine will. The ram charges forth into spring as the initiator. Biblically, the lamb signifies the breaking of the curse on creation, pointing to the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, and the victorious ram enthroned in Revelation. It's John 1:29 and Revelation 5:6. Okay. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you read Revelation, that Ram of God has, multiple eyes, multiple horns. It's a trippy looking thing, right? But those are representing the spiritual energy centers. The eyes are the eyes of God, where God can see you, which is your chakra system. You can dig into that. And I dig deep in this chapter into that. Then we have Taurus, the bull, the golden calf, the green earth sign, masculine symbol of strength, fertility, and provision. The bull of heaven bears the weight of the skies and fertilizes the field of creation with its seed. Biblically, the bull appears both as a sacred offering and as the image of idolatry in the golden calf. Okay. The bull of heaven was always seen as like this virile bull that would literally fertilize the earth, Mother Earth, with its seed, its essence, so things would grow. So that's where this was with the Israelites and the gold calf. That's what that was coming out of. Why was it a calf? Because it was indicating the age of the age. Okay, think about that, the age of the age. It wasn't a big old grown-up bull. It was a baby bull. Okay, and they were entering the age of Taurus, which is the age of Moses. Aries was the age of Abraham. Remember the binding of Isaac and the ram in the thorn bush that was caught. And then you have the Israelite ritual, which I'll get into a little bit because that actually has to do with Capricorn. But there's some very, very obvious, again, when you learn these archetypes and allegories, very, very obvious connections to these things. So, is everybody with me, by the way? I hope I'm not going too fast, too slow. Yeah. Shelly says, I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait to share it with you, my friend. I cannot wait. The only thing that's painful right now is the printing process. They set up everything. It takes long. The first wave of prints takes like by far the longest, and then the rest of them, I just order them in, and then I'll actually have stock at my house, and then they just ship out from there. So, you have to see The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Genesis Illustrated on YouTube. Ooh, I will check that out, John. Thank you, my friend. Don't forget tarot readings, LOL. Yeah, I've got an entire chapter on the tarot in the book. And I promise you, when you read this chapter, you will view the tarot in a completely different way. And you will understand the biblical allegory and how it's used in every book, movie, TV show as a framework for telling stories. I think I do great justice to the tarot, especially for deconstructing Christians to understand, okay, that's what that's about. And mind you guys, I don't practice any of this stuff. Okay. I used to. I used to do like, I wanted to learn tarot and I was learning tarot. I was learning oracle cards, stuff like that. And I kind of quit practicing all of that because I really found my path. And my path is a little different than, so I am an esotericist and occultist. I am a humanist and I am a universalist. So if you've ever wanted to describe me, the very first chapter of the book describes my exact philosophy. Under all of those things, I practice a magical path called mentalism. Mentalism doesn't mean I'm crazy. It means that I do everything with my mind. Everything is in here. Everything is in here, the mind. I change, call forth, and summon and do all of my work from that space of the mind. I personally believe it is the most powerful form of magic. Okay. There are others that seemingly work quicker. There are others that seemingly are very powerful, right? You got blood magic, high magic, all of that stuff. But what I practice is what Jesus taught. Forgive and you'll be forgiven. Bless and you'll be blessed. Judge not lest ye be judged. Father, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, meaning earth is a reflection of heaven, heaven being the mind, earth being the heart and the projected mental reality that you live in here. That's why for me, mentalism is the path that I chose. And I do a really nice spread on mentalism in the book, as well as all the other different forms of magic, because everyone is performing magic in some form or fashion. Now, there are some things like satanic magic that I personally stay away from. I don't believe that's what Jesus was teaching. Those are the things that I personally stay away from. Not here to judge anyone, but I practice what I believe is the perfect path laid out for me. Rosicrucianism and Buddhism, yeah, absolutely. Those are really cool paths too. I am that I am, John says. Exactly. That sums up the mentalism path right there. I will become what I become. Everyone is doing with God. If you ever think like, oh, what is God doing to me? No, you are doing with God. God is no respecter of persons. The Bible says that. He doesn't choose you or a people or anything. I know, contrary to popular belief, he doesn't go, oh, I'm going to bless Melissa over here, but I am going to hold my blessings from John. That's not true. John holds the blessings from John because God is not a respecter of persons. God works equally in the consciousness of every person who becomes aware of God or doesn't become aware of God. Because if you're not aware of God, you're still using God. You still are alive. You still have life force, and you're still using the magical force of God within you to create reality, whether you do that through rituals, spells, sacrifices. And I don't mean weird, crazy, literal ones. I mean, personal, like, oh, I'll give up this, Lord, if you'll give me this. I've done that before too. But again, I practice mentalism. I simply choose X or Y. That's my path. And it works for me. So that's, do with that what you will. That's where free will comes into play. Absolutely. You reap what you sow, Brooke says. Exactly. Melissa says challenges. We are on the same donkey, brother. John says exactly. What is a cultist? Okay, so a cultist, cultist, is someone who is in a cult. An occultist, occultist. I know it's annoying how the English language works sometimes. Occultist is what I am. An occultist means that I recognize outward symbols and signs, just like these zodiac signs. Those are occult symbols. They're outward signs of an inward truth, inward being esoteric. So that's why I'm an esotericist, which is I interpret everything I see as a personal message for Cub, for me. Okay. I don't interpret it for you. That's why I, didn't go very far down the rabbit hole of like reading tarot or oracle or anything, because I am only qualified to tell me what to do, not you. Okay. And I'm not stepping on toes. Everybody that reads tarot and stuff out there, some people have an amazing gift with it. Good for you. Godspeed. That's awesome. But for me, it is not my place to tell anyone or even suggest to them what they should do. Again, for me, all of that stuff is mental. It's all within me. So I look at these and I look at Pisces. I think something totally different about Pisces than you do, because I am a Pisces. I'm a Pisces both in sidereal and tropical astrology. Now, if you're a Pisces, you're going to look at that and you might think something similar to me, but I promise you, it is still different than what I see in my universe. Okay. That's where the esotericism comes in. I see an outward occult sign. I interpret it within esoterically for what does it mean to me. Then universalism, I believe all are saved. If you believe you're saved, I believe you're saved. By grace through faith. What is grace? Grace is that God is equally loving and supporting of every being in this universe. Okay. That's what it means to be saved by grace through faith. Okay. Having faith simply means that I align with the universe, I align with God, I align with source, and I understand that I'm supported, I'm loved, and I'm taken care of. I have faith that it's going to be okay. And that's what universalism is. And then humanism is quite literally what Jesus taught. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's humanism. And I take that radically. I literally try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I'm not always great at it, and I have made mistakes before, but I really try to treat people the way I want to be treated, because I try to love myself first and understand all things are an illusion of my mind. And if I'm going to truly love myself, then I have to take care of all parts of me. That includes stray dogs, homeless people, everything. So yeah, absolutely. Melissa says Pisces represents mysticism, unconditional love, and we're all one energy. Yeah, welcome to my world, right? For me, it also represents duality finding its way back to unity. And that's a big journey in my life, like a big theme in my life. Because if you look at the Pisces, it's a fish swimming this way and this way, but they're actually going in a circle. They're going nowhere, and they're actually chasing each other's tail, but to the other one, they look like they're going opposite when they really are swimming in unity. And that's the dichotomy of the Piscean plight, in my opinion, which I live every day, is, how can my shadow self and my, light being self both work together? And then you realize they're actually saying the same thing, just in different language. And my gosh, what have I been doing here? It's a very interesting thing. So Shelley says, we are all one. Amen, my friend. Brothers and sisters, I have to go. John says, John, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. John, check out the book. You guys, you don't have to buy it. Like I don't want to force anybody to buy it, but please, if you want the discount, please go get it. I think I have like 10 extra of the soft covers on the way. So if you want a free soft cover with that bundle, go get it now, because I don't know how long I'll offer those. Once I look at the cost and all of that stuff, if I can keep giving them away or not. So if you guys want that, go get the bundle now. Save a ton of money on that bundle before it goes up, because as soon as I put the first shipping sticker on, that deal is changing. So I'm just keeping that open to try to be nice. So go check that out, mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. You can read all about the book there. Go check out what other people say about me, all of the good stuff over on the website, mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. If you like today, I promise you're going to love the book. If you like what I'm talking about today, the book is going to be the best thing since sliced bread for you. I truly believe that. So go check that out. You will not be able to find this. I did make a decision. You're not going to find this on bookshelves anytime soon. I am selling it exclusively through my website. So the reason I'm doing that is a number of reasons. One of which is another conspiracy I uncovered through the whole publishing pipelines. So I won't get into that. Definitely not publicly, but it's pretty wild. And anyway, I want to do what I can to have a great product, get it to you as quick as possible, and really be able to stand behind my work with that. And the only way I can do that is really to have it printed directly to me and then ship it directly to you. So go check it out. Forerunner, thanks for being here. Rose, thank you for your question. Muhammad, welcome. Tim, welcome. Daga, welcome. Anthony, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Now we're going to talk about Gemini, the twins. This is where it gets interesting. This is literally in the Bible, like actually in the Bible, about Paul on a ship to Rome with the Gemini twins on the front of the ship. So again, major characters in the Bible always introduced with a zodiac sign. Go figure. So he's on a ship with Castor and Pollux on the front of it. Castor and Pollux are the two stars in the Gemini twins constellation. So very important to remember that when you're reading your Bible, nothing is as it seems. Nothing is as it seems. Now we get to Cancer, the crab. This is the servant crushed and exalted. And again, to understand, when I say the Bible is a book about the Zodiac and the Zodiac is about the Bible, I get purists on both sides that argue with me, But I'm here to tell you, the more you know about both of them, the harder it is to not clearly see these connections. So the crab, in the myth, the crab is crushed. He's called down and he becomes a servant. And he's crawling on the earth. And Heracles, as he's going to battle, crushes him under his heel and he feels bad. Think about stepping on a crab. You ever eaten crab? The cracks open. I mean, it's a horrible sound. You can't imagine, right? So he gets crushed. Heracles is like, I'm sorry. I'm going to elevate you. You're going to carry the sun now with your little crab claws, okay? So now the sun is being carried by the crab. Other traditions later called it the manger. Okay, I'm not kidding. You cannot make that up. That's in the book as well. The manger. Okay, so the Son of God, aka Christ, the Christ light, is carried by the manger or the crab, which was the suffering servant crushed under the heel of the authoritarian rule, i.e., Rome. The Bible says he is crushed for our transgressions. He's crushed under the heel, right? Can't make it up, guys. I'm telling you. So, and then he's elevated. So Jesus is crushed. He suffers. He dies. 3 days later, he is elevated, risen again. And then he's on earth for 40 days. And then he ascends to the sun, right? To heaven. It's wild. So that one blew my mind doing research for this. Then Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Once he ascends, he becomes Leo, the sun. The sun and the Leo are very closely connected. Think about the mane on Leo. It's very complementary energy. Very, very interesting with that. So then we get to Virgo, the maiden, aka the Virgin Mary. Hello, Virgin Mary. Then in the book of Revelation, the Virgin is pregnant, bearing the sun, the moon at her feet. So the Virgin, Isis, the Virgin Mary, Sophia, pregnant with the Christ child, with the moon at her feet, wisdom. Hello, guys. I mean, again, once you start learning this stuff, guys, life will be different. You will look at things differently. You will understand symbols and signs that you see. And it's harder to get fooled when you know more. The more you know, the less you can get pushed around, okay? The less you can push yourself around too. Harder to lie to yourself the more you know, okay? You can lie to yourself a lot with belief systems, but the more you learn, the less you learn. The more you know, the less you know. And that's where I've discovered it's like the more knowledge I have, the less I feel like I know because, like, wow, I'm humbled. I'm humbled at how intricate and perfectly lined out our reality is for our experience here in the game. And that's amazing, I think. So, and then we have Libra, the scales, super important to Old Testament theology, and how they were weighing the grain in the temple. Okay, Libra is all about balance, balance with the harvest, balance distributing the harvest, balance distributing what is for the gods or God. It's very, very interesting when you look into Libra and what the scales represent. And we all have those Libra moments in our life where we have to balance back out, right? And I do that. And being a Pisces, I get to do the pendulum swing enough. But the longer I live, even as a Pisces, the more I learn how to balance that energy between the yin and yang and stay in the narrow path, that middle path, if you will. So now we're going to get into Scorpio. This one, I got people arguing with me all day on the short TikTok video I did of this. This is Diablos or Judas the Backbiter. So Scorpios, biblical is Diablos or Judas the Backbiter. So Judas was called Diablos. If you look up the Greek, that was what he was being called in the New Testament when Jesus was talking to him. And that also archetypes Diablos literally as backbiter in its definition. So think about a scorpion. That's where people argue with me. I don't have time in a 2-minute video to explain it all, but backbiter, that's where that comes from. Judas, Diablos, the backbiter. You can go look it up. Go look it up in the King James. If you have a King James Helps Bible, like I have, where is it? There it is. The Keyword Bible. This is the one that I use. This is the box for it, but this has all the Greek and Hebrew in it as well, or at least a lot of it. And then you can go to the online tools too, like Bible Hub. Get dog hair on it. And man, you spit, and thank you so much, man. Thank you, Mars. Appreciate it. So that's where that comes from, and that's where a lot of people argue. Most people that argue just don't know. I mean, it's just ignorance. It doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means they don't have the data. The more people argue, you can guarantee that they don't have the data. Okay, people that have the data, people that are confident, they don't have to debate, they don't have to argue. They just stand in their power because they know. They understand what it looks like to be on the other side of the aisle, someone trying to yell and debate and prove to people, come up and debate me. Come. No, I don't have time for that, guys, because I'm confident, okay? And I don't want to prove to anybody because me proving it to you doesn't help you, okay? What helps you is you proving it to yourself. My biggest battle is with me. That's what I came to this planet to figure out. So, desires of body and ego. Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I debate? Yeah, I can debate. Do I like it? No, I hate debating. I think it is petty. I think it is pointless. I think it is fruitless. I think it is completely egoic. And I don't think it helps anybody. And I think the more confidence an individual and the more maturity an individual gains, again, the less they want to debate and the more they want to actually help and teach. Like, teaching is a different mechanism. Doesn't mean you have all the answers, but you can teach with authority. And the best type of teacher is the teachers that help the students move from I don't know to I can find out. Okay. That's my point with this channel. That's my point with the book, to take you from I don't even know what that stuff means to, oh, I can find out more. Okay, now that I know this, now what can I discover? And it's a whole journey. Shadow the Hedgehog says, my Zodiac is a Leo. Good for you, my friend. I haven't met a lot of Leos, by the way. I know one Leo personally, actually. One of my favorite people in the world. But, okay, where were we? Sagittarius, the Archer, big, heavy themes of that in Revelation with Archer. The Archer has set his bow and his target is true, like all that type of language. Also Ishmael was prepared in the wilderness with a bow among the beasts. So again, major characters being prepared with their zodiac energy. Again, Book of Revelation mirrors Genesis all the way through the Gospels in a metaphysical document of the Book of Revelation. I have an entire chapter, probably one of the longest chapters in the book, close to it, is on the metaphysics of the Book of Revelation. So if you got an aunt or an uncle that's trying to tell you Jesus is coming back to judge everyone, it's all happening now, you can read this and understand not only that they don't know what they're talking about, but it's all in the mind. It's all a metaphysics thing. And if you start seeing the shadows of that stuff, it's because you're there mentally in your psyche, not because there's some predestined timeline that everybody goes through at once, because we're all on different timelines, I personally believe. So, let's see. Oh, Rain is also a Leo. Awesome. We got a lot of Leos in the house. Shout out to the Leos. Appreciate you guys. Program traditional mindset. Yes, exactly. So now we get into Capricorn, the sea goat. This is like one of the weirdest ones. The scapegoat ritual in the Bible. Heavy overtones. So Capricorn, if you don't know, it's a goat head, a goat body, and then the tail of a mermaid, basically, or the tail of a fish. It's a very mythological creature, right? But again, the mythology of it tells of the esoteric story of it. What is it? It, originally Capricorn, he was able to scale to the great heights, and then when he fell off the cliff, he hit the water and then grew a tail so he could be equally as fast in the water. It's all about resilience, all about change and transformation, right? So that's the sea goat. And this again has to do with Jonah in the belly of the whale, and then also has to do with where was it? The scapegoat is Israel's scapegoat ritual, and I go deeper into all of that in the chapter. I don't have time today, but that's a really good framing of that scapegoat ritual, Nineveh, Jonah. And we'll pick up more on that. I'm going to go through each of these individually on the podcast in the coming weeks and months. So we will definitely be going through this. Aquarius is the water bearer. Let's see. The story of Judah in the Bible is Scorpio. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. See, I mean, you can find more data on that. And if you understand that, that's what matters. I honestly don't believe a lot of this stuff is just a this or that. I think it's a this and that. And it's like the more you understand it, the bigger the story gets and the deeper the connections. And I think that's how it should be. Any good story, go watch Lord of the Rings. There's like Facebooks and blogs and podcasts and all kinds of stuff like dedicated to the Lord of the Rings, right? Because it's such a good story. It's multi-layered. It's got a ton of symbolism, and it goes deep into esotericism, occultism, the human condition and emotion and the journey, the hero's journey, all of that stuff. It's why it can get talked about over and over and over and over, just like the Bible. They say the Bible is the living word of God. Yeah, well, everything is the living word of God. The Zodiac is the living word of God. You're the living word. By the way, all is story. There's this famous quote, all is mind. I believe all is story. Mind is mindless until you put a story in it. If you want to change your life, upload a new story into your mind. That's what changes your life. Aquarius, the water bearer. This is the living water talked about in the Bible. This is also hearkened when Jesus says, enter into the city, there shall be a man to meet you bearing a pitcher of water. Okay. Men did not carry water back then. Okay. That was the feminine job. No shade in that. That's just how the culture was. If you saw a man bearing water, that wasn't something they did. The women would go and get the water and bring it to the home. There would not have been a man just standing outside the home with water. Most likely, especially, why would Jesus just like psychically know there's a man that, like, that's just like a weird thing. But again, when you read the Bible esoterically, you go, oh, that's Aquarius. Jesus is saying Go into that man's house. Go into the upper room, and I will meet you there. That's where we will dine together. That's where we will share the Passover together. The Passover is no longer at the doorway with the blood of the lamb on the posts. It is in the age of Aquarius, in the higher consciousness. That's where I return. That's what he's trying to tell them. And that's, I think, a beautiful understanding that I wish the church would wake up and start teaching this stuff. I wish you could go to a Sunday morning service and learn what I'm teaching you here and learn what we discuss on this podcast, but you can't. So maybe I'll have to get over that dream, but maybe one of these days when more people wake up, that will become more commonplace. Maybe when we move into the age of Aquarius, that will be more commonplace. Got 120 something years left, allegedly. Depends on who you ask. But Pisces, the fish. I've already talked about this: duality, unity, all the dichotomies, spirit and flesh. To early Christians, the fish became the secret sign of Christ, the ichthys. If you ever seen the Jesus fish, that's the Pisces. Jesus multiplied the fish to feed the multitude. He also said, cast the net to the right hemisphere, the creative mind, the allegorical mind. You'll catch 153 fish, which is the number of completion, which means you beat the game. You get there, you start beating the game. You start writing the game code, and you get to enjoy the game and actually actively play the game of life. And that's what Jesus was teaching, my friends. You don't have to believe me, but I promise the more you dig into this, the more you study the zodiac, the planets, those energies, the biblical allegory behind all of this, then you realize not only was Jesus a master parable teller, he was a master at teaching symbolism, and he was a master at teaching you about the kingdom of God within you. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Thanks for being here, Alto. Sagittarius, already went through that, but Sagittarius is the archer, Ishmael, the archer in the wild. Also in Book of Revelation, the archer has drawn his bow. There's a lot of archer symbolism in there. And so, that's another thing. I am going to teach more on the in the course, like Bible study behind this stuff, and how can you take these things and then go look for those keywords in the Bible and look at all those verses and go, whoa, because there's a lot more than I could even put in the book, guys. I put as much as I could to get you to think that way, and then you can go out and explore on your own and go, oh wow, okay, like now what about this, what about that? It becomes way more fun when you get it rather than me force feeding it to people. So what was Aries? I came in late. So Aries is Aries is the ram, the Lamb of God. And that one is also in Revelation, the ram with 10 horns and 7 eyes, or vice versa, whatever it is. And then in John, also in the Old Testament, you have Abraham, the binding of Isaac, and then the ram was caught in the thicket. The ram was supplied. So the age of Aries. Again, lots of ages in the Bible, lots of zodiac stuff in the Bible. That's what it is, guys. It's anything but what they try to teach you in the church, the churchianity construct. I love all my pastors and stuff, by the way. I have a lot of friends that are pastors, but I also have a lot of friends who have left pastordom and are starting to wake up to these things. So it's very important that we all respect each other, and even as we realize, hey, maybe that construct isn't for me, to still respect the people that are in it and pray for them, encourage them, talk about this stuff with them, not to prove a point or debate, but just to get it in their head, like get them going on that frequency. It's like the more you believe in the frequency you're in, the more people around you start turning into that too. It just spreads like wildfire. So Rain says, can I ask how you process ways and tools to reach higher consciousness or knowing the beyond? Yeah, so I don't really have any crazy magical ritual or anything that I do. I wake up and treat every day like it's a dream, like it's a game. I do everything through the mind. So I don't do a lot of ritual anymore, including magical rituals or religious rituals. The extent of my rituals now are morning cup of coffee, candle. I do practice yoga and meditation, but the more you practice that, the less you have to do it because you start doing it in everything. Yoga is a way of life, not something you do in a hot studio with bright pink and fluorescent colors on to hip hop music. That's not real yoga. Real yoga is sweeping a floor and knowing that you are doing that with God. Like that's true yoga. And so for me, like as a Pisces, I'm not like that structured. So, doing like that daily ritual and stay into that just isn't for me. So for me, it was all about I've got to do whatever I can to program my psyche to be in that state as much as possible. I mean, what you've been watching today, this is a yoga for me. Like it really is. It's exhausting. I sweat a little bit. I love doing it, but it is a yoga. I have to really yoke with what's flowing through me, the Spirit of God, and really let this message come through and stay on target and try to keep people engaged. And so there's a lot that goes into that, right? Now, with that said, some people, depending on what your characteristics are, you may need to do that daily yoga class and like go to something. And but I highly recommend you find something that's closer to Vedic yoga, excuse me. See, I can't even talk at the end of it. I like bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is love, service, and devotion. That's essentially the path that I practice. I see God in everything, everything in God, and I try to serve and love in that. And again, I think that's literally what Jesus was teaching. I talk about that in the book as well. So, Kundalini yoga, some people do that. I don't really practice that one. Doesn't mean it's not beneficial for some people, but for me, bhakti gets me there way more than Kundalini ever has. That's just my opinion. That's why there's so many different kinds of yoga. When you go look at all the different kinds of yoga, there's like 8 very unique paths. Well, I mean, go look at all the different zodiac signs. Like it's going to be different depending on who you are. You have to pick a different path of yoga. Some people like service comes naturally and they don't even think about it. And you may need something more structured. Some people have a hard time serving and they might be more egoic and like that, maybe bhakti is your path, right? Like, I balance all the negative characteristics of me through the yoga that I practice every day. But again, that yoga came naturally to me as in that was the thing that mattered to me, which is wisdom, knowledge, love, service, treating all as God, seeing God in everything, animals, plants, everything. And so it came naturally to me. It doesn't mean that it was easy though, because I did have to, I don't ever have to force myself to help someone, but I have to be in the state of yoga, remembering and knowing, not remembering, but knowing I am in the Father and the Father is in me and really serving in that manner. So, Rain says, agreed. Yes, we all the same. I did by programming mind, practice, and purify the mind, and the heart by forgiving acceptance. Exactly. Yeah. So lots of different pathways. I recommend pick one, find what resonates, and go for it. And you'll learn more about that. There's a whole chapter in the book called Krishnaanity or Christ Krishna Path. And I compare and contrast Jesus and Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, yoga, meditation, and I go deep into that, even giving you, I have an entire page on literally how to meditate, literally exactly what the Bhagavad Gita says, what Jesus says, and how you can do it super easy every single day. Guys, go check it out. Love you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the link in my bio. Massive discount. You can still get up to 50% off and the free book right now if you go over to mysteriesofancientwisdom.com. That bundle is a steal right now, and I cannot afford to keep it that crazy discount for long. So if you want that, please go get that. I have about 10 of those books left that I can ship out with that, and then all the digital content rolls out between now and Christmas. That's why it's still on pre-order. The books themselves are about to shift over after this weekend to just order now. And then the discount will change on those, everything. So go check that out. If you really, really like what I'm doing here, support the book, get it in your hands. Let me send you the free gift if you get the bundle. The bundle, you can join on the Saturday calls. You can be a part of the community. You're going to get the courses as they come out. You get the digital book, the audio book, everything. Like it's the whole kit and caboodle for a steal, guys. So go check that out. Very, very short amount of time left. You'll see the timer. You've got till that timer's up on the website. So love you guys. Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom.com. I'm going to go fluff my hair because I'm having a low hair day here with the humidity. You guys have a beautiful day. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you, Rain. Thank you, Wild Winged. Thank you, Donald. Thank you, Josh, Nitu, Erica, Jacqueline. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks to everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Shelly, thank you. Melissa, thank you. You guys are awesome today. Thank you so much. Yes, call tomorrow, Shelly, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Same time, same place in the community. And you guys that get the bundle today, come join the call tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, right there in the community. As soon as you sign up, it'll put that book in line for you for me to ship it out. And then it'll open your account on our website. And you'll start seeing all the digital content between now and Christmas as it slowly rolls out. Well, pretty quickly rolls out. Actually, we only have a couple of months left. And then you can start joining the Saturday calls, get involved in the community, all the stuff. Go check it out. Mysteries of Ancient Wisdom.com. Love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you guys